gyrative, jam masters. So, if there's a place in the sun, where and why can't I find it? Why is it just a song we get inspired and sing? Let's talk about that. The starting place of right understanding, but very few of us humans ever come to know that, is that the most important part of our being is not our body, not our heart, not our mind, but the consciousness that is aware of those things. There are plenty of people that their bodies are not so healthy, they're older, they've had operations, whatever, but they're still in there. They're still conscious of the body. In fact, all of us will go through the situation where our body was once a couple of feet long, and now it's much taller, and you watch it grow. It goes through changes all by itself. Who watches it grow? Who sees this? What is the awareness of being that is aware that you have a body? You feel its aches and pains. You feel its pleasures and joys. Who does? That's the essence of right understanding. It's the same thing with your emotions. We have emotions. Yes, we do. They change. There's love, there's disdain, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's self-consciousness, there's jealousy, there's embarrassment. There's all kinds of things. Who knows what's going to pop up next? Regardless of whether you know where it's coming from or why it's there, you are aware of it. The same you that is aware that you have a body with its sensations and aches and pains and pleasures and joys is the same you that experiences the emotions with all their perturbations and changes. And likewise, you have a mind. It creates thoughts. That's what the mind is. It's an appliance, if you will. Some appliances blend. Some appliances vacuum. Some appliances create thoughts. It goes pop, 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 like popcorn. Just pop, thought. Why did I do that? I don't know what you do. Just creates thoughts. I don't know what's so difficult to see. Your mind creates thoughts. It's a place where thoughts are created. Is your heart a place where thoughts are created? No. Your heart is a place that emotions are created. Is your hand a place that thoughts are created? Give it a shot. See if you can make it create a thought. I can't do it. Everything has its place. So you have a mind. And the question is not what your mind does or what it's thinking about. The question is, who notices? How do you know you have a mind? Do I need to tell you that you have thoughts? Maybe you've noticed. Who noticed? So the most important part of your being is the consciousness. If you don't have thoughts, you know that you don't have thoughts. When you go deep in meditation, you come back, you say, oh my God, I went so deep. There were no thoughts. How do you know? It's really not so complicated. It's not mystical. How do you know you went deep? Who are you that went deep? Who went deep? And how do you know there were no thoughts? Do you say that? I went so deep there were no thoughts. It doesn't even have to be meditation. Oh my God, when I saw her or him, I haven't seen them for so long. My God, I felt so much love. I couldn't even do anything. I couldn't walk. How do you know? How do you know? Because you're the consciousness. Call it what you want. I don't want to give it a name. Atman, soul, consciousness, essence, being, self. How about I call it you? I like calling it you. It's you. The trouble is you think this is you. These arms and legs. They're not you. They're what you are aware of. When you go to sleep, you don't take your body with you, do you? It just lays there in bed like a dead log. But you're still having dreams. You're still in there having a good old time. Or a bad old time. It doesn't always work out so good, all right? So basically you wake up. These are such important things, and you so intuitively use the right words. You just won't pay attention. Do you or do you not have dreams? Do you take your body with you into the dreams? No, it lays there in the bed. You wake up in the morning, and you say what? I had this amazing dream. Whoa. I don't want to hear the dream. I want to know who had the dream. I want to know how you know you had the dream. That's what I want to know. How do you know you had the dream? I called you. Hello? Anybody home? No one's home. I walked in your room. You're sleeping. Hello. But you come back. You say, I had this amazing dream. Or the one I really like. My God, I didn't have any dreams last night. How do you know? Who knows that? You see, this is not mystical. This is common sense. This is reality. Nobody asked you that question, did they? They sit there and say, I had this amazing... What was it? I couldn't care less what it was. I want to know who knows that they had that dream. Were you in the dream, or did you just remember it? Well, were you in there running around and getting married and having things? You, the sense of I, was in the dream. Fine. That is your consciousness. You are always conscious. So the most important part of your being is your consciousness. If you're not conscious, there's nothing. If you're conscious, it's just what are you conscious of? It's consciousness and object of consciousness. I don't give you an English lesson, but subject, object. Consciousness is the subject, and then there's an object of consciousness. What you do with it is the verb. You could put lots of verbs in there. I yelled at it, I ran away from it, I grabbed it, I hugged it. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. It's just the verb between subject and object. What is the subject? You don't have any idea. The most important part of your entire being, your entire life, you never even ask the question, who am I? Now, you guys did, you wouldn't be out here. But you give me a break. Who is it in here that is looking out through these eyes? Who is it in here that's experiencing these things? What is the nature of consciousness? I almost cried saying that. That is the most amazing question you could ever ask, and you know nothing about it. Why? Because you're busy knowing the nature of the object of consciousness. And that's what it boils down to. You can do yoga, you can do Zen, you can be a Christian, you can be a Jew. It doesn't make any difference. Read the Kabbalah, read the Gita, read the Bible, do whatever you want. You're still not asking the right question. Who am I? Who am I? The most important question you will ever ask yourself, and you best be asking it, is, who am I? Not, who do I think I am? That's what psychology studies. Your self-concept. See? Self-concept. A concept is something that's not real. So a self-concept is what you made up about yourself, what you conceptualize yourself in your mind as. But that's not who you are. You're the one that notices, do you have a self-concept? I'm just very quickly pointing at you. Do you have a self-concept? I'm a woman. I'm a man. I'm tough. I'm weak. People like me. Nobody likes me. It doesn't matter. Up or down. It's a self-concept. I'm the person who played Dorothy in 4th grade in the play, and everybody clapped. Well, you're 65 now. Yeah, but that was the moment. How do I know that's my self-concept? Go to reunion, grade school reunion. Somebody sit there and say, well, I remember in 3rd grade. Remember we were together in 3rd grade, same homeroom, right? And I played Dorothy. What? What did you say? I played Dorothy. There. That's your ego. That's your self-concept, right? Well, who the heck cares who played Dorothy 50 years ago? I do, don't I? Why? Because I made it part of my self-concept. I defined it as a me. This is who I am. No, it is not who you are. You are the consciousness that's aware you got some problems. I hope you notice that. If you're worrying about that 60 years later, there's something wrong in there. But that's true of all of us. Why? Because any self-concept you have is a lie. It's something you made up about yourself inside your head. Do you really think you're not you because you didn't play Dorothy? That's ridiculous. You are the consciousness that is aware of what happened. Good. I'm glad you're aware. But that's not who you are. You're not the experiences you had. You've had plenty of experiences, haven't you? Who had the experiences? You are not the person who married this person. That's not who you are. You're the consciousness that is aware that you felt love and marriage took place. You're not the experience you had. You tell me if you didn't have the experience, you wouldn't exist? No, of course not. I would just have a different experience. Who would? So you finally wake up and you realize, yes, okay, I'm not taking anything away from you. You're going to have a self-concept, believe me. You'll live your life. You go about the business. But please be aware of who you are that is aware that you're doing this. That's called witness consciousness. Are you aware you have a self-concept? Yes. Are you aware it causes problems? Are you aware that if anybody challenges your self-concept, you have major problems? Your mind goes crazy. Your heart starts to hurt. Oh, you don't think so? Okay, let's make believe. I don't know which one of you are toted this guy around, but let's say it's your husband, all right? And somebody walks up and grabs him and says, oh, darling, where have you been? I was looking for you for a whole week. The kids are waiting for you. How you doing? That didn't exactly match your self-concept. Anything that doesn't match your self-concept, you're crazy. It doesn't even take much. Okay? Is that your car? Is that your car? It's all dented up and dirty. No, it's not my car. I would never drive a car like that. That's your ego. Anybody got one? Let's not play around. A little bit heavy to tote around with you all the time? You got to watch anybody defensive ever? Who is in there noticing this? You do notice it. You notice your thoughts. You notice your emotions. You notice the state of your body. Who does? So basically, eventually, you wake up, and I know you guys have, at least to some degree or another, you wake up and you realize, you know what? I'm sitting there trying to make and you can do this. I don't mind you doing this. I'm trying to make my body look beautiful or handsome. Why? What do you care what your body looks like? Every single animal lower than you couldn't care less. Go to the zoo, watch the apes. They couldn't care less. But you got a problem. They don't have a problem. And you got a problem. Why? I have a self-concept. Why? Because I'm trying to present my body in a way that people are attracted to me and that people like me. The rest of animals don't seem to have that problem. And so the question becomes, work your way back. Is it true that that's why you dress up? Is that why you wear makeup? And that's why you do all these different things? Because I want people to like me. I want people to accept me. And so on. Okay? I asked a terrible question. Why? Nobody asked that question. Why? Why do you care? Why do you care? You're sitting here on a planet spinning in an empty universe. There's 2 trillion galaxies. Wake up. And you care whether somebody likes you. It's hilarious. All right? Why? And you come down to, they're always going to explain who you are, help you understand your place in the sun. You want to know why? Look at me, because I'm not okay. That's why. I'm not okay. And I feel better when people like me. I feel better if I have someone around me that just admires me and dotes over me and says really, really nice things to me. I like it. Why? Because I'm not okay. And this makes me feel better. I care about the fact that I drive a really nice car and people admire it, and I got a nicer house than my neighbors and things like that, and I keep my lawn nice or whatever the heck it is, whatever I do. Why are you doing it? Because I'm not okay in here, and the things that I do are an attempt to attract other people to like me, to say nice things about me. How about clapping? How about you walk in the room, they all get quiet. Put their head, oh. Well, there used to be that advertising for a brokerage firm. When so-and-so speaks, people listen. We really like that, don't we? Why? Because we're not okay. You have to measure it against the reality. You're sitting on a planet, spinning in the middle of absolutely nowheres. I go through this over and over with you. There's a star out there. A star, not the sun. It's a star. You gave it a name. Very good. It's called a star. It's 93 million miles away. And 1.3 million of your Earths fit inside that star. Did you know that? Whoa. And you care what's happening on 1.3 millionth of a thing that's sitting around spinning one star, and there's 300 billion stars in your galaxy, and there are 2 trillion galaxies, and you care that you got a run on your stocking, or that your hair doesn't look as good, or oh my God, there's a start of age, it's just got a wrinkle. What's that all about? It's your ego, it's your mind, and they're all tied to your emotions, and you live in there. You, the real you, lives in there. And you experience your mind, and you experience your emotions, and you experience your body. Therefore, you are not okay in there because your mind is not okay. You're not okay in there because your emotions are not okay. Your heart is not the way you want it to be. Sometimes it is, but not usually. And you're not okay in there because of the aches and pains. And it's not just aches and pains. Then you start to understand yin-yang, all right? It's not just the woes and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to, as Shakespeare put it. It's not just that. You're not okay in there because you had tremendous... Your body can give you some nice feelings. You want them more. Yes, you're not okay in there. You got problems. You got problems. And you're doing everything you can to make it be nice in there. Why? Because it's not nice in there. Okay. So the question, if you want to spend your life doing... And you are going... Let's get something straight. I don't want people to misunderstand my teachings. You're going to do this stuff. at least for a while. You live in this world, and you have an ego. You have a mind. You're going to learn to deal with that. Those are not non-spiritual things. It's not spiritual to dress up. It's not spiritual to feel like you like to look good. If you have fun doing it, not if you're doing it to impress somebody else. There's the difference. It's okay to have money. It's not spiritual to have money. If you're playing Monopoly with everybody, it's fun. It's just fun. Come on, it's fun. Pick the right stock or I build a good business. It's fun. But if you're doing it because you're not okay, and you think having money is going to make you be okay, or you think looking good is going to make you be okay, go ask the actors and actresses when they get older. They suffer. They don't look as good as they used to. Right? It's like, God, all spirituality, real spirituality, it's not taking anything away from you. It's crazy to sit there and listen to a talk and say, oh, I'm not supposed to dress up, I'm not supposed to do this, I'm not supposed to do that, I'm not supposed to have a nice car, I'm not supposed to earn money, I'm not supposed to enjoy my job, I'm not supposed to get married. It is not saying anything like that. It's crazy that people sell spirituality through renunciation. That's ridiculous. It's just basically saying, will you please wake up and recognize what's going on? You are inside, and you're not doing so well. And you're out there trying to manipulate and control people, places, and things so that they come in a way that make you feel better, even for a short period of time. You can do a drug. People do drugs. They do. I don't know. Talk about it. I don't know. People do drugs. Why? It makes you feel better. For how long? People drink. People drink and get drunk. And how? I feel better. I feel looser. I feel more. For how long? I'm saying it's just basically anything I can do. Why? Because I'm not okay. Don't twist it around and sit there and say, no, I'm perfectly okay. That's why I get stoned every weekend, and that's why I do acid all the time, and that's why I'm drunk all the time. I love to binge drunking. It's just a great thing. And that's why I go to rave parties and throw myself off the railing. Because I'm doing great. Hello? All right? Just at least admit, I'm not doing okay in here. And that's why I do these things. I'll go to the extreme, but I want you to forget it after I say it. Even positive thinking, which is a wonderful thing. I teach it. I recommend it. Well, why do you do positive thinking? Because I'm not okay in here. Right? Okay. Thank you. So there's your starting position for understanding spirituality. Is like, can I be okay in here? And what you're generally taught through your societies and your teachers and everything is, if you make your body healthy and you make it look good, you'll be doing better. And if you get your mind to where it's thinking more positive and you get a relationship that works for you and you do these things and you hold them together and they work out and you get your finances together and so on, you will be doing better. That's a true statement, which is you can relatively be doing better by selling yourself out, by doing everything you can to manipulate everything and get it a way that makes you feel better and then try to make it. Oh, you may have ulcers, you may have headaches, you may have a lot of anxiety, but at least you got something going, okay? Right? So there's that. What does spirituality say? Is there an alternative? That's what spirituality says. Is there an alternative to having to work day and night to try and make everything be the way you think you need it to be so that you feel a little bit better inside? So that your mind and heart and body and everything are somewhat better? And the answer is yes, there is. Who would like to know about it? Me. What is it? Believe it or not, it's you. The consciousness itself has a nature. Now I am going to cry. The consciousness is the most important part of your being. If you're not conscious, forget it. There's nothing. Okay? You're conscious. You're conscious of your mind. You're conscious of your heart. You're conscious of your body. You're conscious of the world. You're conscious. What is the nature of consciousness? That is what yoga asks. Yoga is not asanas. Yoga is not meditation. Yoga is not mantras. It's not. Those are called techniques. The techniques to what? To find out who you are. Techniques to help you to return to the nature of self. What is the nature of self? Whoa. There are some people who came to tell you about that. Like Christ came to tell you that. My Father and I are one. Muktananda Baba, meditate on the self. Honor and worship your own being, for God dwells within you as you. Meher Baba, man minus mind equals God. Let's take the real one that Christ said, because I want to take the words literally, not figuratively, literally. The kingdom is within you. The kingdom is within you. That's the most powerful thing anybody ever said. The kingdom is within you. The consciousness itself has a nature, and that nature is phenomenal. It doesn't... Okay, now we're going to talk about this isn't what I wanted to talk about today. Who's willing to now talk about what I wanted to talk about? That place in the sun, all right? If you meditate, if you pay attention, you will fairly quickly realize you are watching your mind. You are noticing your emotions. You are looking out through the eyes. It's not that hard, okay? First, why is it hard at all? Because you care so much about the object of consciousness that you're not willing to stay within consciousness. When your mind says, where is he? He said he was going to call. Where is he? You care more about that stupid, meaningless thought than you care about staying centered and clear that you're the one who noticed the mind saying, where is he? So you are sitting there. You obviously noticed the thought came up. Oh, my God. He's an hour late. Where is he? You think that's the most important thing in your world at that moment. Then all of a sudden he walks in the door. Oh, there he is. Well, I don't understand. How could that be so important? Well, it seemed to be pretty important at the time, didn't it? How many thoughts you have like that all day? Freak you out. Okay? You are the one noticing the thought, but you don't stay the one noticing the thought. Please, this is the essence of what I want to share with you. I'll look you right in the eyes. You don't stay the one noticing the thought because you care so much about that thought that you give up your seat of consciousness to move your consciousness into the thought. So now you are the one who's saying, not even saying, you're the one, where is he? Why did she say that? Why did she say that? And next thing you know, you're not there. Where are you? In that thought. You got in the thought. Why? Because you care more about the thought than you care about who you are. You care more about the thought than you care about understanding the nature of self. So you go there and your consciousness becomes so aware of the thought that you identify with it. Most people think that's who I am. The one who said, where is he? And then said, oh, there he is. Okay, let's go. I'm just living at that level. I've lost my sense of self because I projected it onto the object of self, object of consciousness. And you do the same thing with your emotions, and you do the same thing with everything. That's why, and this you is a generic you. You're representing all of humanity that ever lived. Okay? That's who I'm talking to. You're here, so we'll talk to you. All right? You are so interested in the fact that you're not okay in there and every little tidbit about it that your consciousness focuses so much on the object of consciousness that you have no chance to even question what is the source of consciousness, what is the nature of consciousness. Forget that I said source. I want to talk about that next. Right now I'm just about nature of consciousness. Okay. Yoga and all deep spirituality is about saying, really? Really? How's that worked out so far? That every single little thing the mind pops up. Woo, 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 woo. I get lost in. Okay? And you find out it doesn't work out so good because the mind's pretty nutsy. Can we just 1 minute, because I can't help myself. The new book goes into this very deeply. Why is the mind so nutsy? Why does the mind have to do things like that all the time? Why does it have to cause so much trouble? Everything it says is negative. It just worries and gets anxious. Why is it doing that? I can answer that in 2 sentences. I don't need psychology books. Yogis don't need that stuff. Here goes. Have you, big you now again, have you ever had experiences in your life that were difficult for you to handle? What did you do with them? You pushed them away. You protected yourself from them. And by the way, the you I'm talking about is you. The you I'm talking about, right? It's the same you. You have power of will in there, don't you? That's you. That comes from self. The power of will comes from self. All right? But you pushed it away. Suppressed it, repressed it, resisted it. I don't care. I don't have to use Freud's words. I don't need psychology. You're in there, don't you? And you push that stuff away. Where do you think it goes? Well, I'm telling you, it gets stored inside your mind and inside your heart. They are things, and you take this energy of those events, and they get stored there. How many of those have you stored? How many stars did you say were in the galaxy? Okay, you do it all the time. Big things, little things, everything. Doesn't take much. And you push it away. Well, just you answer me. If you make a collection of every bad thing or everything you had trouble with, quote that. If you make a collection of everything you had trouble with throughout your life inside of you, what's it going to be like in there? If you store every single disturbance that ever happened inside of you, you're going to be disturbed. Are you? Thank you. That's it. That's all the psychology you need. There's not a chance in the world. I asked the question in the book. If every single time you go to a restaurant and you get sick, it just the food wasn't good, it just made you sick, ask for a doggy bag, take it home, store it all in a room, and every morning give a little taste test so you remember how bad it was, because you don't want it to happen again. How are you going to be? That's what's going on inside. I don't need any more psychology. I don't need any more analysis. I don't need Freud. I don't need anything. You know darn well that you store that stuff inside of you. Does it ever come back up by itself? The stuff that you stored when you were 3 or 10 or 20 or your ex-husband or wife, does it ever pop up in the shower while you're driving? Why? Because it's still in there. It's just the memory. No, the trees don't pop back up. The clouds don't pop back up. Don't you dare call that just a memory. That is a resisted event that didn't make it through you. It didn't make it through. You understand? The memory is part of your natural function of mind. It remembers things. That's wonderful. This isn't that. This is, I resisted it. I stored it inside. I don't want to ever think about it again. Ha, 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 ha. Ever dream about it? Ever have nightmares? Ever blah, blah. Every single thing that is going on inside your mind, all that garbage, all those fears, all those anxieties are because you stored the stuff inside of you. Guess who agrees with me? Sigmund. He didn't come at it at the level I just did, but that's what he found. He didn't come down from self and realize what he's watching. Sigmund never showed any evidence. I read so many of his books. He showed no evidence of having woken up. It's hilarious. He had no evidence of saying, I'm in here and there's this voice talking. Not one word in all of Sigmund's writing are about that voice inside your head. He studied it from outside. He studied institutionalized patients mostly and all kinds of things. What's this all about? This psychological sickness and so on. And he came in and said, suppression. Guess what? He was right. And you do it every single day of your life. If somebody says something you don't like, if a driver in front of you is if somebody's driving the way you don't want to drive in front of you, there's a blinker, they're going too slow, you talk about it all day. Idiot, what's that? Ruined my day. What? It was 5 minutes. Give me a break. You do it all the time. Anything that disturbs you, you resist it, and you store it inside of you as a resisted disturbance. Therefore, you build all those up, and it's trying to release. There, I did it in a few minutes. That's why it is the way it is in there, because you didn't handle the natural unfolding of life. Okay, so is there a way out, or do I have to go through therapy for the rest of my life? Every day I need a new therapist because I did it again. The answer is the self, the consciousness, has a nature. How will I experience that nature? By not leaving it. You don't experience by reading a book. You experience it because you're it. You are the consciousness. That is you. If you want to know what is the nature of consciousness, don't leave. Be the one who's noticing, and then when the mind says, where is he? Notice that the mind said, where is he? Notice the heart started to flutter. Notice that all the muscles tensed up, and laugh. How many times has it done such a thing in your life and it turned out to be nothing? 99.9% of the time. 99.9% of that neurotic stuff that it says, oh my God, how am I going to get there? I'm late. Oh my God. And then you go there and there's a waiting room for 2 hours and you sit down. Okay? So you have to be willing, we could talk about how to do it, you have to be willing to let go. That's what I teach. I teach letting go. What does that mean? It means I noticed, well, you're always noticing, you wouldn't know what happened. I noticed that it said, I'm going to be late, and I let it go. What do you mean? I didn't go down there, lose my center of consciousness, and get all involved in, I'm going to be late, because guess what? That didn't help you not be late. But aren't I supposed to think about those things? What for? What did that do for you? One, you're going to be late. Now you're going to be neurotic because you're late. I mean, okay, you're late, fine. You're going to find out it works out anyways. But basically, or learn from it. Learn to, okay, I should have left earlier. I should have had the last cup of coffee. Fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But to sit there and lose your seat of consciousness, lose the center of being, lose who you are. I'm not the one who's late. I'm the one who's noticing that the mind is saying I'm late. So if you can stay in that seat of consciousness for a prolonged period of time, it's going to change your entire life, period. As I said, is there another way? Yes, there's another way. Let go. And what's going to happen if I let go? Incidences will happen all day, little things, I call them low-hanging fruit. Little things will happen that the only reason they bother you is because you decided they did. I went out to lunch and I dropped some ketchup on my pants. I tried to wipe it off, but it left a stain. We okay? No. Okay, well, you just decided not to be okay. Because otherwise, you're sitting on a planet that 1.3 million of them fit within the sun, and there's 300 billion stars, and you're not okay because there's a stain on your pants. Congratulations. And you start to wake up, and you realize, I'm doing this to myself, causing myself trouble. Okay, well, I'd rather sit in the seat of self and try to find out what the nature of self is. The only way you're going to find the nature of self is being there. It's just, you are the self, you are the consciousness, you are awareness. If you want to know the nature of consciousness, all you have to do is remain conscious. It's so funny. Be conscious. You are conscious. You just are conscious of the object more than the subject. That's what it's all about. How about when we start to be drawn down, this is what I want to talk about, when we start to be drawn down into the object of consciousness, can you feel that? Can you feel yourself being drawn down into the thought or drawn down into the heart? It's a pull. It's like magnetism, isn't it? It pulls you down there. It pulls you, okay? How about if you let go? What does that mean? I can't let go of the heart. No, I didn't talk about let go of the heart. I talk about you in there that's focusing on that. Can you just lift your head up for a moment and come back to where you were before that started pulling you? That's how you remain centered. You don't leave. I said it in the book, and I know nobody understands it. You know how you find the seat of self? You don't leave. There are moments that you're okay. Good. Those are very good moments. Stay there. Not I'm okay because he loves me. Oh my God, I can't wait to see him. No, that's not okay. All right? It's okay. I told you, you can play with that stuff. But that's not what it means to be okay. What it means to be okay is I'm fine, whether he loves me or not. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not okay because of something. I'm just okay. I'm seated in the seat of consciousness the best I can. Here I am. And now a thought or an emotion took place, and I'm about to leave. I don't know, but maybe you have to meditate to get that moment to make the decision. Sometimes you don't get the decision, do you? Next thing you know, you're crying. Next thing you know, you're an emotional mess. Next thing you know, you're yelling at somebody. No, there should be a moment where you're aware that you're being pulled into that energy. It's an energetic thing. It's not a mental thing. Every one of you have the experience. You just don't pay attention to it. There's a moment in which you're there, then you're not. Then you're yelling. Then you're hurt. Then you're crying. Then you're upset. Then your mind is going crazy. Okay, but there's a moment. There is a moment, I assure you. And if you meditate or work on this, the moments will get so big. Ramdas once said it really beautifully. Ramdas said, I find myself standing on the bridge, watching the water go by. Every once in a while, a spray comes up to where I feel it, and then I remember I used to live in there. Okay? That's witness consciousness. So if you practice letting go, what does that mean? If it starts to pull you down, if you feel the pull, it's because you're holding on. I don't feel the pull when you're having that. I don't feel a single thing. It's something you're doing inside yourself. You're protecting yourself. You're getting involved. Relax. That's what I teach. You want a technique? I give them to you all the time. You just don't call them techniques. Relax. What do you mean relax? How can I relax? You'll see you have the right to relax. Just relax. They write me, relax what? My arms and leg? Fine, relax your body. That's a good start. I mean you in there. You who's getting pulled down into that stuff. Just relax. And you're going to find out you come back. Why? It's a tug of war. You're holding on to one end, and this is trying to pull you down. If you let go of the part you're holding on to, it can't pull you. That's what it means. Relax and release. I'm not saying you can do it all the time. You can't do it all the time. But get started. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You start by saying, I don't want to deal with this crazy mind all the time. I made a mess out of it. I stored all this garbage inside of it, and I was all puking all the time. It's my fault. I did it. But I can't go down there and fix what happened when I was 3 and 10 and the argument I had with my mother. I don't know what I could do, all right? What you can do is let go. You just start letting go of the whole mishigas, the whole bundle, the kit and caboodle. If I don't get pulled down into the mind, guess what happens? And I'm warning you, this gets skull and crossbones. If you don't get pulled down into the mind and you don't struggle with it anymore, all that stuff will start to come up. What stuff? The stuff that I didn't let come up my whole life. But I understand I'm supposed to feel peace and love. Yeah, but you go through this first. So basically, when you stop jumping in, it will naturally purify. It will naturally cleanse. What do? Let go. What do? Let go. But let go. The entire path from that point forward is I am here and I'm aware that I stored all this garbage inside my heart and inside my mind. So I need to be willing to let it go. Now you're not willing to let it go. When it comes back up, you push it back down. All right? Imagine you have an ex-husband. He's not an ex-husband. He's very active inside of you. You wished he was ex. You're still having the arguments. You hear his name. It comes back up. You see a picture. It's a place you used to eat. You know, they're literally therapists. And I love therapy. Anything that helps is fine. But I have had somebody tell me their therapist told them that they need to move into another city or another state because every time they see a restaurant or a place where the couple used to go together when they were married, all the stuff comes up, and the right thing to do is just leave so you're not faced with that stuff. If that's what you need to do, move. It's fine, right? I'll tell you what, move inside. One step back. Simon says, take a step back, and then Simon says, relax. Take a step back and relax. So it's actually a good thing when you drive by the restaurant or the theater and you feel this come up. It's your mind saying, I don't want this inside of me. You shoved all this stuff down here. And so basically, if it starts to come back up, what does yoga teach? What are the great teachings? Welcome it. Throw it a party. I don't want you down there. Why are you down there? Nothing's happening. The guy died 3 years ago, all right? Or moved to Europe. And so basically, here it comes. It's coming up. Give it a kiss on the head. Welcome it. Open. Let it pass. You didn't let it pass when it was happening. I understand. There could be tough stuff. All right. So that's what it means to seek the seat of self. Don't leave. Get the best seat you can get. That's why it's good to take morning and evening and do some meditation or some mantra or breathing, do whatever the heck you want to do to kind of get yourself ready. The new book is very strong. It says when you start your day, remind yourself that the entire purpose of your entire day is to let go of the stuff that's trying to come up and don't put any more in. And then at night, you sit down and you settle and you remind yourself, the entire purpose of the day I just lived was to let go of the stuff that was already in there and not take any more. That is such a good practice. Remind yourself of what it means. There's a place in the sun, and before my life is done, I'm going there. That's how you go there. And so basically, you keep letting go. So now we're at a point where you're sitting in there, and what will happen? It will get easier and easier. I know you don't believe me. Now, when the big stuff comes up, it's hard. But if you keep doing it, then it won't seem so big anymore. Once you learn to play the piano, it's not hard. Once you learn to play a sport, it's much easier than when you're first starting, was it? Learn this. That's what I'm begging you. Learn this. That's what spirituality is. Learn to sit in there in your seat of consciousness. Notice what your mind is doing. Notice what your heart is doing. And learn to say, fine. Fine. It is the result of the way I store all this junk in here. Guilty! Don't you dare blame your mind, and don't you dare blame your heart. Your mind is a beautiful, brilliant thing. It flew to the moon. It dug metals out of the ground, dirt and metal, and built them into a rocket ship and built computer chips with silicon. Oh, my God. Mind did that. Your mind did that. The human mind did that. You're brilliant, but you're busy doing all this garbage. And so you sit there and say, no, I'm going to devote my life to letting my mind be healthy. The way you make it healthy is not getting what it wants. Like the sick part of your mind. I'm lonely. Nobody loves me. What can I do? I'll buy a Ferrari. They'll like me if I have a Ferrari. Oh my God. I once was in Rodeo Drive. I took Durgan when she was young. We went to California. I wanted to show her the world. So we're on Rodeo Drive, and there was a beautiful Ferrari that wouldn't start. Now, you think that guy was embarrassed? Give me a break. You don't buy a Ferrari so it could break down on Rodeo Drive, and the tow truck can come and tow it away. So it's like, that's not how you make your mind be okay, by giving it what it wants. That's like a spoiled child screaming, give it the toy. And that's what you do all the time. So you learn to say, I did this. It's not the mind's fault. I screwed the heart up. It's not the heart's fault. But I'm going to, little by little, every day, learn to sit here and let go of the new stuff. I ain't putting no new stuff in there right now. I ain't putting no new stuff in there. It takes 1 second to put something in that it takes years to get out. Yes or no? Isn't that amazing? Somebody says something to you, right? Or the guy's Ferrari broke down, right? Fine, a little event, right? I guarantee you that guy don't go to a Rodeo Drive ever again. He's moving. The therapist told him to move. And go buy a Porsche. So, I'm not kidding. At some point, this is what we do. We adjust everything we're doing because we have this garbage inside of ourselves. And we sit there and think the mind knows what it wants. Of course it knows what it wants. So does the child who's throwing a tantrum. If you're sitting there trying to feed your mind everything it wants, I'm sorry. I don't want to know what life you're living. And the same thing with your heart. Your heart is broken. It's broken. Not because somebody broke it. You broke it. Because you stored every single thing inside of it that ever bothered you. You just pushed it away, and now your heart can't find love. It can't find peace. And if it finds love, it says, I've had that before. I don't trust it. It's very difficult to open that heart. The natural state of your heart, the heart is beautiful. The heart's filled with love. That's its natural state. But you shoved all this junk in there. And so now you have to think you have to go find somebody or do something, which there's nothing wrong with, except find somebody because you're so filled with love you want to share it. Not find somebody because I don't know how to love and maybe this person helps me. That, I'm telling you, it don't work out long term. So basically now, we're back. You've practiced this. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Some people ask me that. You can practice it to the point where some terrible, terrible thing, really, life can be very challenging. Someone challenges the worst parts of your being, right? And you sit in there, okay, we'll use this too. Okay, I will use it to strip me clean. I will use it to let go of whatever's left in here. Okay? You can get to that point. You're not there, but you can get to that point. Just stay seated, please. And if you can't and you get lost, that's fine. Just come back up. That's how you do it. And over time, I'm telling you, you're going to find yourself more and more centered. That's what we use the word, centered. You stay clear and centered. The stuff pulls on you, you let it go. If you need to deal with it, it'll come back. Don't worry. I can't stop. I can't. 99% of what bothers you is you. You're worrying. You're remembering what happened in the past. These are not things that need to be dealt with. They're the fact that your mind is broken. If you get all that cleaned up, you're going to find out that, yes, sometimes there's things you need to deal with in the world. But you'll be clear, and you'll deal with it. But otherwise, you're dealing with you. You're dealing with the fact that I'm not okay, and this is freaking me out. So basically, over time, if you keep letting go, just practice letting go with the little things. Then the bigger, let go, let go, let go. The old stuff, let go. Just if you're committed, you'll get there. It's all about intent. If that is your intent to get what your mind wants and satisfy what your heart needs, or is your intent to let go so that you can clean up in here and have a decent life? If you let go enough, you will start to feel something where you didn't feel stuff from before. Like a little bit behind you. Behind who? Where you're sitting. You sit in there somewheres. You who looks. When you can do this, I want you to talk to me. I want you to see. Because I want to see that you can do this. You, the consciousness, the awareness, actually has a seat. It's called the seat of consciousness. And I assure you, you are always looking down. You look down to see your mind. You look down to feel your heart. And you look down to look out through your eyes. You are back here. That's where you're going to find out, I'm back here inside. But I get pulled down. He got pulled down, right? Use those words, don't you? It really pulled me down. Yes, it pulls you down because your mind is below you, your heart is below you, your body is below you, and here you are in here, your seat of consciousness. And you're going to start to feel a joy that's at first gentle, but after not very long, if you don't leave, more than, let's say, the greatest joy you ever felt before. You fell in love, you're getting married, all right? You're going to find out for yourself, I don't want you to believe me, that that's where the love came from. That's what's there, is beautiful love and joy and inspiration and bliss. And the times you have felt joy is because they were moments that opened your mind and opened your heart, and this was able to flow. But not everything opens your mind, opens your heart, does it? And when it closes your mind and closes your heart, you don't get fed at all. And basically, and again, I'm a nice Jewish yogi, but I love Christ's teachings. Christ said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. In other words, I don't live off of the outside events that take place and people talking to me and so on, but back here. from the high place is where it all really comes from. And I'm telling you, you will actually experience it. Every love, every joy, every excitement, everything you ever felt like that in your life is because things lined up with what your mind wanted. Oh, I like how he looks, and I like how he talked to me. Okay, what if he comes back next time and says something mean? Boy, was I wrong. You're not going to feel love, are you? It's because it all lined up, everything opened, and then this that's back there flowed in. It's all coming from back here. And you start to feel joy and love for no reason. Just because the sky is blue, it'll blow you away. Because a bird chirped for a moment. You just feel all this joy and love. This is a spiritual path. That's the real spiritual path. And then eventually you will realize, what am I doing? If I let go of the junk that's below me, I get to stay here. But letting go doesn't mean you don't get married. It doesn't mean you don't have children. It doesn't mean you don't go to work. That's not letting go. That's pushing away. Life will still unfold just because you're sitting in ecstasy. Don't worry about it. Just because you have all this love and beaming bright doesn't mean that things won't happen. You have a car. You still do it in the world, but not of it. That's what that means. You're sitting back here. And then it gets so beautiful back here that you fall in love with it. You will start to feel this love. You'll start to feel this joy. You'll start to feel this Shakti. We call it Shakti. Just this flow of energy, spirit, Shakti, Chi. I don't care what you want to call it. There's just this beautiful energy back in there. That is the nature of you. That's your nature. That is the nature of self. Self has a nature. The consciousness has a nature. It's ecstasy. It's Satchitananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. But guess what? That is just the seat that you have now taken where you're not being pulled down into your personal garbage. You're not being pulled down into this thing you carry around that you made a mess out of. And the more you spend back in this seat, the more the mess drops away. Well, you don't need it. Why are you going to think about what your mommy said to you when you were 4 years old if you're in ecstasy? I mean, which is basically say, okay, Mom, sorry. sorry, I didn't say goodbye. Sorry I didn't go to your funeral. I guess I'm doing better now. It falls off. It falls off. Why would you don't want to carry a rock if you don't need to, or an anchor. And I'm telling you, it just naturally falls off. And the more time you sit in the seat of self, the more ecstasy you feel, and the more at some point you realize, this is me. This is who I am. I am this descended spirit. I am this beam of light that's shining down, and I can sit in that seat. Then you don't ask the question, what is the nature of self? You ask the question, what is the source of self? That's what a great being, great yogi, yogini. You got past your stuff. You realize there's ecstasy in here. Yogananda says there's a river of joy that flows inside of you. Go there, get in and drown. But I'm telling you, the next thing, and I always want to talk about this, but the time's always over before I could talk about it, right? If you realize this is your nature, at some point you spend enough time there, you realize, where'd it come from? You're not thinking it. You're just intuiting. Obviously, everything has a source. What is the source of self? And that's when you realize it's not in front of you, it's behind you. A light that is shining on an object, if finally you realize the light is not coming from the object, it's coming from the light that's hitting the object. That's what just happened to you. The love, the joy, all this is coming from that. Where is the source of that light? Behind. It's always behind. It's behind. And you will start to get pulled back. And you realize something's pulling me from behind. I never knew a behind. First, I was always going forward. And second, I finally stopped and I was seated in the seat of self, in the center of self. But the source is coming from behind. And it starts to pull you up. You start to feel this tremendous pull back. And then you understand why I have these pictures hanging on the wall. There are beings who have let go. Not let go of themselves, let go of the entire limitation of being an individual, of being separate, of the separateness of consciousness. And that's what Christ's family said, you die to be reborn. The source is from behind, and you fall back into that. And Meher Baba said the first time he fell back into that, it was like his consciousness had been a drop of water. It fell into the ocean. Find it. You don't find that drop of water again, do you? It does what we call merge. goes in a state called union. The word yoga in Sanskrit means union. That's what yoga is. Yoga is not the asanas, but they help. Yoga is not meditation, but it helps. Those are techniques for realizing who you are. My Father and I are one. That is true of all of you. And I don't know how we miss this. I mean, that's a big thing to miss, isn't it? Okay? That's a pretty big thing to realize that the source of your consciousness is consciousness, pure consciousness. And it's that exact same consciousness that you give the God name to. And so basically, there is something very, very great looking through your eyes. Do you understand that? There's something very, very great looking at your mind and looking at your emotions. The fact that your mind and emotions are a mess and that you can't handle looking out through your eyes because it stirs up the mess, that's not the consciousness's fault. Consciousness is pure. It's divine. And when you can let go of the personal, you end up there. And then that's what the great masters, you bring down this great light. You bring the blessing to all of humanity. You're a very great being. It's not that you have to pick around and try to be okay. You're the most okay thing that could ever walk the face of the earth. One of my favorite things Christ said, he said, as I sit by the throne of my Father. In other words, I'm in there, I'm back in there, my Father and I are one. As I sit by the throne of my Father, then what did he say? So you should sit by my throne. And these things that I do, you should do these and even greater things. Now do you understand what he's telling you? Then I succeeded in my talk. Do you understand what that man was trying to tell you? You are the same as him. You are that state. You're going to understand, when you reach the final stage, there's no difference between any one master and any other master. Why? Individual drops fell into the same ocean. Work on this. You're a very, very great being. Don't settle for being a beggar to try and get some stuff to make yourself be okay. You're so far beyond okay, it's not even funny. You're going to do it. Don't feel guilty. It's you still got this human nature, but at least work, let your intent. It's about intent. Don't worry about every little thing. If your intent is to learn to liberate yourself, to learn to sit in the seat of consciousness and allow the divine force to pull you back into it. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Doesn't matter how many times you fall. Doesn't matter what you've ever done. Nothing you ever did can stop your ability to do that. Okay, I've worked with prisoners for 30 years. They used to go to the prisons, all right? It's like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It matters because it left marks. You killed somebody, you did this, that left stuff inside of you. But if you can let go and return to the higher part, it just falls off. It falls off. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay? Just let go and let God. Jagged.